Hey everyone, it's Aaron here at LSK Suspension. Today we are going to be installing both our flat and radius cage. We're looking forward to showing you guys what it's all about. Let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and start with removing the factory cage. It's a lot easier than the X3. You just remove this panel here and you'll see two bolts. Be aware, there's a lot of lock time from the factory. You might take a breaker bar to get them loose and then you can finish driving them out. So now we have the front bolts taken out. Now we need to remove this plastic so we can get to the B-pillar. There's two bolts up top. It's a 10mm socket. Alright, now we have a bolt that's underneath here. Alright, now that we got those three bolts out, I'm just going to pull this out all together. There's a torque spit on the back of here. It's a little hard to get to with the cage there, so we just pulled this all out as one piece. Yep. So now we're going to take off the bolts on the B-pillar on both sides. If you've never taken these bolts off, they are very tight for the factory. They have a lot of Loctite on them. It's a good idea to get them started with a breaker bar, and then you can take them off with an impact. Now we have all the bolts out of the cage. We're going to go ahead and yank this little cover off so we can get the cage out of here. This is just going to give us a little bit more clearance when we pop this out. So now that we have the cage off, we're going to go ahead and put the A-pillar bung on, and we're going to use the factory bolts. And on the front bungs, we're just going to loosen it just enough so it has a little bit of wobble. So now we're going to put the B-pillar plate on. It's important to note that the threaded holes should be toward the middle and the outside of the car. And then you'll also notice a keyhole that's going to face the front of the car. And you want to make sure it's shifted more to the outside. If this is wrong, possibly you have it flipped over, this is how it would be on the other side. So just make sure you have it orientated where the key is more toward the outside of the vehicle. So in the kit, you're going to see all the tubes will have a part number on it. This one's MR for Maverick R, F for flat. This is tube number 5. If it is written regular, it is for the driver's side. If it is written as a mirror image, it is for the passenger side. So we're going to look at our PDF file or the printout that we give you in the box, and we're going to grab the main bar, and then we're going to put this in, and we're going to make sure that we have the correct side for the driver and correct side for the passenger based on the writing. So let's go ahead and put on the main bar. There's a keyhole on here to help you line it up. We put just enough keyholes on it to make it so you don't have to necessarily guess where everything's got to go. And in other words, it still kind of guides you. So if you have any tubes that are just a tube that goes from the left side of the car to the right side of the car and there's no mirror image of it, the actual writing is always going to be on the driver's side. So if we're trying to figure out how to orientate this etch mark is going to be on this side when we place it into this piece. So before we square this up, we're just going to put some small tacks on the bottom of the B-pillar. That way we can move it and have it hold its place to make sure that it's square, because right now we can rock it a little bit left and right. So we're going to get this cage squared up, and there's a couple ways you can do it. If you have a method, go for it. What we're doing is we are actually using level. We're making sure this is level, and we're making sure the angle of the B-pillars is the same on both sides using this digital angle finder. Once you get this squared up, just go ahead and put another tack on the outside of the B-pillar to hold it in place. And then don't tack the top tube yet. We want to put the front bar in so we can make sure that squeezes together correctly. So this is the next tube. It's MRF3. We're going to make sure that the etch is on the driver's side. We're going to place it in there. Then we have a laser etch in the middle that you'll see that'll help you indicate where the middle of the cage is for when we're assembling it. We're going to go ahead and put the visor bar in. We got the etching on the driver's side. There is a little bit of clocking to this, so we want to make sure we have the etching on the right side so it's clocked correctly. Now we're going to go ahead and put the keys of the center roof bar in there. And then we're going to make use of our etch line in the middle so we can line this tube up in the middle. And we don't even have to take out measuring tape because we have that mark line telling us where the center is. So we're going to make use of a strap to hold this thing together. We're going to throw the strap around the back and then just snug it up so that we can tack everything once we make sure it's where we want it. So we're squaring up the front bar, and in order to do that we're taking measuring tape and we're going to measure off the back bar that's keyed, and we're going to make sure it's the same on both sides. So one thing that's really important is you need to make sure the top surface of this tube is in line with the outside. You should be able to look across the top of this and look at the bottom of the main bar, from main bar to main bar, and this tube should almost be invisible. It's got to be perfectly in line, and that's going to make it so the roof will line up correctly. Now we have these tubes in place, let's go ahead and tack in what we have. So once you get these bars tacked in, do one more check to make sure that it's actually square. We're going to go ahead and move on to the back window bars. And it fits right in here, and you'll see the cope will close up. There's one spot it fits in, just make sure you get it the same on both sides. Yep. Now that we have the rear window bars in, we're going to move on to the corner gusset. And you can see there's a notch that fits around that bar. It fits in one place. We're going to tack that in it. Now we're going to do the lower dash bar, and to make it easy we have an etch line that's right here on the tube, and we have another etch line that's on there on both sides so that you don't have to guess on where it needs to go. So before you tack this, let's go ahead and we got this all squared up, and then we're going to tack it in place. Once you get the dash bar tacked in, we're going to move on to these gussets. This one goes in right underneath here like a potato chip, and then this front gusset tube slips into the cope of the other one. There's only one way it fits. We're going to tack it right there. We're going to go ahead and put the intrusion bars in. We're going to use our center line to get it where we want it. We're going to tack it in place, and we'll make sure they're even at the bottom. So before we tack the bottom, I just measured from one side to the intrusion bar and making sure it's matching on the other side.
If you bought a roof, let's go ahead and grab the 12 tabs and the hardware and let's get it installed. Now that you have your roof laid on the car, we're going to go ahead and center the roof between the main bar and the visor bar. After that, we're going to clamp it to make sure it doesn't move. We're going to put the provided hardware that you have on the roof and bolt it on and tack it. Once you've got all the roof tabs bolted in, you can go ahead and tack them in. Once you got your roof tabs tacked on, we're going to go ahead and remove the roof so that way we can finish welding the cage. We recommend welding the top half of the cage before you remove it, so that way it keeps the structure. After that, we're going to finish welding it and throw it back on the car. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave some feedback in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.